The desert heat pressed down on the gate, but Piet Reeves's eye, the night, carried no mercy. Heat radiated from the asphalt, shimmering like water over the 12-foot stretch of concrete between the barrier arms. Dust rode the air and clung to sweat, but Reeves stood steady. M4 held close. Selector switch checked and set safe. Chamber clear. He shifted his weight, but never his gaze. Nothing duty, Echo had called it earlier, smirking as he leaned against the guard shack. Reeves glanced at him now. CPUMLO's Jason Turner, broad shoulders slouched, helmet tipped back as if the world owed him rest. Sentinel, Echo teased, drawing out the call sign. The most boring post on base. You watch the sand watches you. Circle of life. Reeves didn't laugh. His eyes swept the road that ran to the horizon, flat and empty, but his tone was calm when he answered. That's when people stop paying attention. That's when something slips through. Echo chuckled and shook his head. You need to breathe, man. No one's stupid enough to come through here. We're miles from anything. But Reeves remembered his training. Complacency killed faster than bullets. He tightened the strap on his helmet, eyes tracing every line of shadow across the chain-link perimeter. Hours bled together. Supply convoys rolled in, their engines rattling under the sun, headlights haloed with dust. Reeves scanned each badge, each manifest, matching paperwork to the database pad mounted by the barrier. Twice he noticed discrepancies. Serial numbers transposed, one container marked for fuel but filled with spare rotors. Both times the drivers shrugged. Both times Reeves recorded it, though Echo muttered that no one cared. At 22:30, Reeves leaned into the radio mic clipped to his vest. Sentinel, status green. The response came back crackled. Copied, green. Nothing more. The base trusted him only to report nothing happening. Echo kicked at a stone, sending it skittering across the asphalt. You ever think about being somewhere else? Inside air conditioning? Doing something that matters? Reeves kept his eyes forward. This matters. The moon had risen pale when headlights appeared on the distant road, too bright, cutting through the shimmer. Reeves straightened. He lifted his rifle, checked the chamber again. Echo sighed but mirrored the motion half-heartedly. The truck rolled closer, flatbed style, tarp stretched over the back. Its engine rumbled low, different from the supply convoys they'd logged earlier. Reeves raised a hand, palm out, signaling stop at 12 feet. The vehicle braked, tires crunching gravel. Evening, soldiers, the driver called, passing a set of laminated IDs through the window. Reeves took them, flipping under the floodlight mounted to the barrier post. Names matched, photos matched, but something was off. The expiration dates were smeared, the holographic seal dull. Echo, Reeves said quietly. Check the manifest. Echo grumbled, pulling the clipboard from the driver's hand. His casual smirk faded as he scanned it. Says fuel drums, but the weight doesn't match. Too light. Reeves felt the thrum in his chest deepen. He keyed his radio. Sentinel to Hawk. Request confirm on supply entry. Vehicle tag 4229 Charlie. Static hissed. Then Hawk's voice clipped. Copy. Stand by. Reeves looked at the driver again. Sweat gleamed on the man's temples, though the night had cooled. The passenger sat too still, hands fixed in his lap, eyes hidden under the brim of his cap. Reeves felt the prickle of unease harden into certainty. Step out of the vehicle, Reeves ordered, his voice carried, steady though his pulse hammered. The driver hesitated. We've been cleared, soldier. Standard challenge, Reeves replied. Step out, present badges again. Behind him, Echo muttered. Reeves, come on, this is... Out of the vehicle, Reeves barked, louder now. His finger shifted near the selector switch, ready to click from safe to fire. The driver's jaw tightened. The passenger glanced sideways, quick, a signal or a measure. The tarp shifted slightly in the breeze, revealing the faint angular outline of something long and metallic beneath. Reeves took one step forward, stance squared. This is Sentinel. Vehicle non-compliant. Possible breach attempt. The radio crackled. Sentinel. Hold position. Hawk confirming records. Do not allow entry. Echo's eyes widened now, all the jokes stripped away. He lifted his rifle properly, barrel steady. "You sure about this?" Reeves didn't answer. His gaze stayed locked on the driver, on the faint twitch in the man's cheek, on the passenger's unmoving hands. Time stretched, heavy and fragile. The night no longer felt empty. It felt like the pause before thunder. Reeves squared his shoulders. "Gate stays closed until command clears it. Nobody moves." And in that silence, under the hard white light of the perimeter floods, he realized the post no one respected had become the first line of defense. He had no way of knowing the next move would shatter the calm and turn his watch into a battlefield. The headlights froze on Reeves's face, but it was the silence inside the truck that chilled him more. Engines usually muttered, drivers usually fidgeted, paperwork usually shuffled in nervous hands, but here, nothing. The vehicle idled at 12 feet, barrier arm down, dust curling around its wheels like smoke. Reeves's grip tightened on his M4, selector still on safe, but thumb poised. Beside him, Echo shifted uneasily. "They're just tired," he muttered, as if saying it could make it true. Yet his voice cracked. He had seen it too. The stillness, the deliberate patience. Reeves's pulse hammered. He glanced at the tarp stretched across the flatbed, shadows shifting under its loose corners. Something heavy lay there, but not drums. He'd lifted enough barrels to know the weight was wrong. "Driver," Reeves called, stepping forward, "cut the engine and step out, now." No movement, only the hum of idling cylinders. "Sentinel to Hawk," Reeves keyed his radio. "Vehicle non-compliant, request confirmation." Hawk responding, voice tight. "Sentinel, stand fast. Lock barrier, code 751. Reeves punched the keypad, fingers flying. The barrier clanged down, locking into place. He scanned the IDs again, their holograms flat, wrong under the floodlights. Then the passenger moved. Just a tilt of his head, a glance at the driver. Both doors swung open. Weapons flashed from the truck bed. Short rifles, dark steel under canvas. Reeves clicked his selector. "Contact." His first shot cracked, muzzle jumping, target at 30 yards. Echo fired beside him, rounds sparking off the truck's grill. The infiltrators erupted in return fire. Bullets chewed the asphalt, spat dirt against Reeves's legs. Echo cursed, firing again, teeth clenched. Reeves slammed his shoulder against the control post, using the metal for cover. "Code red, code red," Reeves shouted into the radio. "Breach attempt at main gate." Hawk's reply came sharp. "Copy code red. Hold the line." Then static swallowed her. The truck lurched forward, slamming against the locked barrier, steel screaming but holding. Infiltrators fanned wide, rifles spitting at 30 yards, muzzle flashes blinding in the dark. Reeves fired measured bursts, 3 rounds at a time, watching each casing clatter against the concrete. His magazine ran dry, bolt locking open. He slammed another in. Heart racing. Echo broke cover to lay suppressive fire. He didn't make it back. The shot caught him high, jerking him off his feet. Reeves's throat tightened as Echo's body hit the ground, rifle slipping from his grasp. "Echo!" Reeves roared, but the only answer was the stuttering fire of enemy rifles. He crawled low, dragging Echo by his vest, but more rounds slammed into the shack. Reeves let go, teeth gritted, every instinct screaming. He couldn't save him. Not now. Alone. Outnumbered. Radios jammed into silence. Reeves's breath came fast, sharp. His chest burned. The weight of the base behind him pressed heavy on his spine. No one else between these men and the sleeping barracks. He set his jaw, raised the rifle, and fired again. Every squeeze was defiance, each spent casing a promise. The infiltrators regrouped, firing in disciplined bursts. Reeves saw one try to climb the barrier, shadow slipping over steel. He aimed, fired, dropped him. Another scrambled low. Reeves cut him down at 20 yards. His magazine clattered empty, the sound hollow as the desert night. He slapped the last one in. Only 30 rounds left. No margin. Dust swirled under the floodlights, thick as smoke. Reeves coughed, eyes stinging. He touched the radio. Only static hissed, empty. Hawk was gone. Command was deaf, alone. One rifle, one magazine. He forced his breathing steady. Fear still sat in his chest, cold and coiled, but resolve hardened around it. If this line broke, the base would fall open. If he held, even seconds more, reinforcements might arrive. He gripped the rifle until his knuckles whitened, leaned into the barrier, and whispered to himself, "Not on my watch." And as the infiltrators advanced again, their shadows closing over the gate, Reeves knew the night would either end in silence or in fire. Smoke curled from the ruined truck, and Reeves's hands shook as he reloaded a rifle slick with blood. The air stank of diesel and burned rubber, every breath grinding his lungs. His ears rang, a high, constant whistle that dulled the sharpness of the night. Somewhere beyond the shattered barrier, men still moved, silhouettes slipping in the dust. He counted 3, maybe 4. The numbers blurred with the tremor in his vision. He shifted his weight, pressed his back against the control post, and blinked grit from his eyes. The magazine slid home with a metallic click, but his hands felt too heavy, as if the rifle itself resisted being lifted. He wiped at his face with the back of his wrist and found it wet. Blood, sweat, he couldn't tell anymore. His chest heaved. Every second stretched thin. The infiltrators regrouped near the stalled truck. One raised a weapon, a flash lit, and the bullet tore sparks from the barrier inches from Reeves's shoulder. He ducked, teeth clenched, heart pounding. He knew he was out of time. His hand brushed the last grenade on his vest. Smooth metal. Final measure. He pulled it free, thumb sliding over the pin. 15 meters to the truck. He gauged the angle, the wind pushing light dust to the east, the slight slope of asphalt. His world narrowed to distance and timing. Zulu Red, he whispered to himself, the base alarm code still echoing in his ears, the promise of help he hadn't yet seen. Then he pulled the pin. The spoon flipped. He rose to a crouch, body screaming protest. With all the strength left in him, Reeves hurled it. The arc glinted in the floodlight. One long heartbeat carried it across the night. It struck the truck's bed and rolled under the tarp. The explosion tore the silence apart. A fireball punched into the sky, heat slamming Reeves back against the barrier. Shrapnel whined overhead, showering metal and wood across the asphalt. The infiltrators nearest the truck vanished in fire and smoke. Reeves collapsed to his knees, rifle clattering beside him. His chest rattled with each cough, the taste of iron rising in his throat. Then, distant thunder. Not artillery. Rotors. Dust whipped into spirals as the medevac bird swept low, rotor wash dragging smoke sideways. From the perimeter, armored vehicles rolled forward, headlights blazing. Reinforcements. Shapes of soldiers fanned wide, rifles raised, shouting commands Reeves could barely hear over the ringing in his ears. The infiltrators scattered, but the cordon closed fast. Gunfire snapped, short and final. Within minutes, the last of them dropped, the gate secured in the ruin of twisted steel and scorched earth. Reeves tried to rise, but his legs gave out. He leaned against the barrier, chest rising in ragged gulps. The clock on the shack wall glowed faintly. 03:47. Local. He stared at it as though time itself had betrayed him, stolen the hours while he bled. A medic knelt beside him, shouting something, but Reeves waved him off. His eyes searched the ground. Echo's body lay still, just beyond the post, boots caked in dust. The sight hollowed him more than the wound in his side. He swallowed hard, guilt pressing against his ribs. Engines roared as reinforcements settled. Sirens pulsed low. Code Zulu Red still flashing across command screens inside the base. Then a heavier vehicle approached, steady and deliberate. A staff car. Doors opened. General Harlan stepped out. His uniform was immaculate even in the chaos, cap shadowing sharp eyes. He walked without hurry, boots crunching through spent casings and fragments of steel. He surveyed the wreckage, the shattered truck, the scattered weapons, the bodies, and then his gaze fixed on Reeves. Reeves shifted, trying to stand straighter despite the blood on his uniform, but his strength faltered. He met the general's eyes, expecting questions, perhaps a reprimand for the broken gate. Instead, silence. A long silence, weighted heavier than orders. Harlan reached to his chest, fingers closing on the campaign medal pinned there. He unclasped it, metal catching the faintest glow of dawn rising beyond the horizon. Slowly, deliberately, the general removed it and held it in his hand. Then he raised his other hand to his brow. The salute was sharp, absolute. A gesture carved from respect, not rank. Reeves froze. The world shrank to that moment, the weight of recognition he had never sought pressing on him heavier than any rifle. His throat tightened. Echo's absence burned, but beneath it, a flicker of something steadier, vindication, quiet and terrible. He let the rifle slip from his hand. It clattered against the concrete, echoing once, then gone. His body sagged, but his eyes stayed fixed on the salute. The dawn broke behind the general's shoulders, painting the smoke gold. Reeves breathed it in, the ache of survival mixing with the grief of loss. For the first time, the gate did not feel like a forgotten post. It felt like the front line of something greater, and he had held it. The salute lingered, unbroken, until Reeves bowed his head, the weight of respect heavier than the metal itself. And in that silence, before the medics lifted him away, Reeves understood that sometimes recognition wasn't written in reports or etched into metal. It was carried in the eyes of those who had seen you stand when no one else could. What Reeves didn't yet know was how far the echo of that salute would travel beyond the wire.